Grandma's Voices is sponsored by a grant through the Michigan Council for Humanities, through the Kellogg Foundation, the Dara Eyes Foundation, and Grand Valley State University, as well as Bayard Art Consulting. Hi, I'm George Bayard, Executive Director of the African American Museum and Archives, or GRAMA, and this project is called Grandma's Voices. Grandma's Voices is an oral history project that documents African Americans who moved here from the turn of the century to Grand Rapids in the western Michigan area. We're talking to African Americans from all walks of life, from every corner of the county, from as far as Benton Harbor all the way up to Idlewild. These conversations tell us about things that happened here in West Michigan that's not normally recorded in everyday history. We now present Grandma's Voices. Mae, with our Grandma's Voices series, our acronym is GRAMA. So we always have things that have to do with grandmas, and we're here today to talk to you about your trip to Washington, D.C. for the March on Washington. But we always ask our interviewees, do you remember your grandmas, and can you tell us something about them?
My grandmother had passed away before I was born, so I don't remember either one of my grandmothers.
Okay.
But I had a great aunt, instilled a lot of things in us as we was growing up.
What was her name?
Her name was Diana Frazier.
Okay. Was she from Grand Rapids?
No, I'm originally from Albany, Georgia.
You mentioned a tree there they
Yeah,
had?
they got a tree called a hanging tree.
Right in Albany?
In Albany.
Oh my gosh.
The next time I go down there, I'm gonna have my sister take me out there, take a picture of it.
They haven't gotten rid of it
They
yet.
haven't chopped it down. It's a big oak tree.
Wow.
Big oak tree.
My gosh.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's where my family are mostly located. My grandkids, they're kind of scattered about now. They're grown.
Now, when did you move here to Grand Rapids?
I moved to Grand Rapids in April 1968.
One of the things that is important to us is the fact that you were one of the few people we've talked to who was able to go to the March on Washington, and I know you incorporated that into your quilt. So first, can you tell us the story of how you as a 14-year-old got to go to the March on Washington?
Well, it was free. They wanted people to go, so they made it a free trip. So my friend, I had two girlfriends, and we decided we wanted to go. And my mom after I had got involved with the demonstration and the March with King in Albany.
We are in the midst of a great movement here in Albany, and we want and solicit the support of everybody in this community. All of the Negro citizens and even white citizens who will join with us.
She kind of saw that she couldn't hold me back from the things that I wanted to do involving Dr. King. So my friend and I, we decided, after they had planned the trip and everything, and had put it out there that they was going to Washington, they wanted people to go.
Freedom Now movement, hear me. We are requesting all citizens to move into Washington, to go by plane, by car, bus, any way that you can get there. Walk if necessary. We are pushing for jobs, housing, desegregated schools. This is an urgent request. Please join. Go to Washington.
We decided we wanted to go too. So what we did, coming up to that time, the little money we made babysitting, going to the field, because at that time you did go to the field, cotton field.
To pick cotton?
Pick cotton.
Oh my gosh.
Chop cotton. Did it all. So we worked and we saved all the money. When we got ready to go, we had a change in the underwear, toothbrush, and toothpaste. And we made our little sandwiches that we was taking, and bought our little chips and candy, and what we was gonna make it. So whatever we had, we shared to survive them couple of days that we was gone. The way we got to Washington was on a train. A lot of people went in cars, some went on buses, some went on train.
From the same group?
From the same area,
So
you know, in that area, same area. So our transportation was the train. I've never been on a train ride before, or anything. It was exciting. We were just excited to go. Didn't know what it was all about or anything. We just wanted to go.
Now, were the trains segregated then too?
Yes. You know, we had to sit in the back car, the last car, whatever. But they had it, Dr. King and Ralph, they had it planned, you know, for the people to go. But we went to Washington. We was there. They did the march on a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But it was on the 28th of August when they did it. And after the march, we went back to the station. We got back on the train and journeyed back to Albany.
Wow.
So it was like a trip that you did what you did and you turn around, you came back. What we did, we went in the bathroom, washed up, changed clothes, and you know, we had our, like I said, we had our snacks and things to eat, and we survived. But it was an experience. And our parents really didn't want us to go, you know, at that age. I was the youngest. My friend was like 15. But they was a little older than I was, but I was the youngest. And we was determined to go. So we're going to do this. And I remember when I got involved with the trip, before I got involved going to Washington, I was involved with the march in Albany. It was called the Freedom March.
This was one of Dr. King's first...
When he first started in our city.
Okay.
And I remember my mom had sent me to the store. And instead of me going to the store and doing what I was told to do, I followed the crowd. I saw the crowd. I followed the crowd. So I ended up going to jail that night.
Oh my gosh.
And for a couple of days, my mama didn't know whether I was dead or alive. And some of the kids in the neighborhood, they called my mom Medea. They said, Medea, Mae, she gone. Gone where? She gone to jail. And when they locked us up, they didn't put us in the city. They sent us to little cities away, so the parents couldn't really get to us that
Oh my gosh.
fast. But we always went in a group. We knew each other. We knew somebody in the group. We wasn't, you know, just by ourselves. And it was an experience.
Now, that particular march, was it one of the ones that was organized by Dr. King?
Yes,
And everybody, they just put them in jail?
they put them in jail.
Wow. Wow.
And the jail that we was in Camilla, Georgia, they had trustees. So once we know we was going to jail, we tried to get our little money, and we have our little money. We sent them to the store, you know, because they could go out. They was trustees, so they could leave the jail, and they would sneak us in candy, potato chips, because we couldn't eat that stuff that was in there.
Yeah.
So
Now, how long did they keep you
okay,
all?
the first time I went, I stayed a week.
A week?
Until they sent us to another city Camilla's about 30 miles from Albany.
And these are young kids. Oh my gosh.
Young kids.
So then after that, you went back to
again.
school, or
Yeah.
you
Well,
just...
you know, it was during the summer, so
Oh,
school was out, so we could, you know, do that.
Yeah.
So that's kept us out of other things. We didn't have to go to the field because we was in jail. So, but it was amazing. And like I said, I tell anybody if I had to do it again, I would. I would.
Yeah.
It was worth it all.
Did you get a record? Did that follow you, or do
You know, I never checked into that to see, because after all this was over with, I left Albany.
Now, let me ask you this too. Okay, when you were at the March on Washington, where were you in the crowd? Were you able to see Dr. King or hear? hear the
at front,
speeches?
we was close enough to hear the speech. Well, they had the speakers, you could hear the speech all over, but we was close enough to see him. Because we made our way to the front. Hey, we was determined. We had came all the way to Washington. We was going to see what was going on.
Wow.
So it was an experience.
Wow. And that was your first time in
My first
Washington,
time
D.C.?
ever leaving home.
Oh, ever leaving home. Wow. My gosh.
Yes, at 14.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about maybe the crowd. Where people feel inspired by it?
The crowd, it was humongous. I never seen that many people in one place.
Yeah.
It was over 200,000 people, so you can imagine the crowd. Right. But my friend and I, we made sure we stayed together because we locked up. Excuse me, pushing through, and we got really close.
Wow, that's great.
But we knew to stay together, and that was the plan. We're gonna stay together regardless of what. We're gonna stay together.
And then you caught the train back.
We caught the train back, the same train.
Man, that's an amazing
It was
story.
amazing. It was great.
To be able to do that and then still meet some of the people from the civil rights movement and be involved with it, I imagine it is something that stays with you for a lifetime.
My son was telling his wife that I went to jail with King and I went to Washington and everything. He said, she did. So he called me. He said, Mom, didn't you go to jail with King, Dr. King? I said, why? Because Tasha don't believe me. I said, well, you know what, baby? If she don't believe you, she won't believe me. So I know what I did. You know what I told you I did because you wasn't here at the time. And I said, you know what your auntie told you? That I was the only one was bold and fast enough to do something like that. I wasn't scared,
Yeah.
What was gonna happen was gonna happen. So, hey, if it was my time, it was just my time. And that's the way I looked at life.
The black community has shaped the American character and experience. Now Black history has a new place in downtown Grand Rapids. Visit the Grand Rapids African American Museum and Archives on Monroe Center, 1 block southeast of Rosa Parks Circle.